What if the loudest moment of the night was not a song, not a speech, not even a scream from the crowd, but a single small step taken by a child onto a giant stage and a question that instantly froze the world in place? Who was she, and why did the entire arena forget how to breathe? Right now, right before the next revelation, is your chance to stay connected. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful story, another shocking twist, or another unforgettable journey. The lights were already blinding. The bass was still vibrating through the floor. Dylan Wang stood where he always does in moments like this, at the center of attention, carrying the confidence of a man who has learned how to command silence and chaos at the same time. Thousands of faces looked up at him, phones raised, hearts racing, expecting the next line, the next move, the next spark. Then something unexpected happened. From the side of the stage, where shadows usually stay obediently hidden, a tiny figure appeared. Small shoes touching the floor. A hesitant pause. A hand reaching forward as if testing whether this massive world would welcome her. And in that instant, everything changed. The music softened. The noise cracked. The crowd's roar dissolved into stunned disbelief. Dylan Wang turned, not with surprise, but with a softness that no script could ever teach. His posture shifted. His expression broke open. The superstar disappeared, replaced by something far more powerful. A man caught in a moment of pure, unfiltered humanity. The child stepped closer. She was barely 3 years old, yet somehow carried the gravity of the entire arena on her tiny shoulders. Her presence felt unreal, like a scene pulled from a dream no one knew they were having. The cameras zoomed in. Whispers spread like wildfire. Is that really happening? Is this real? Is she his? No announcement was made. No explanation was offered. And that silence spoke louder than any microphone ever could. Dylan knelt down to her level, the stage lights wrapping them both in gold. He smiled in a way the public had never quite seen before. Not the practiced smile of red carpets or interviews, but the instinctive smile reserved for moments that matter more than fame. He reached out his hand. She took it without hesitation, trusting him completely, as if the world beyond that grip simply did not exist. That was when the crowd lost control. Cheers erupted, not the usual screaming chaos, but something warmer, deeper, almost emotional. People were crying. People were laughing. Strangers grabbed each other's arms, realizing they were witnessing something that could never be recreated. Phones shook as hands trembled. This was not entertainment anymore. This was connection. Dylan lifted the microphone, but for a moment, he didn't speak. He looked at her instead. She looked back at him with wide, curious eyes, completely unfazed by the thousands watching her every move. To her, this wasn't a stage. It was simply where he was. And that realization hit everyone at once. Whether the child was his daughter, a family member, or a symbol of something deeply personal, the effect was the same. This was the side of Dylan Wang the world rarely sees. Not the actor, not the idol, not the headline, but the man whose life extends far beyond the spotlight. He finally spoke, his voice quieter than usual, steady but touched with emotion. The words themselves mattered less than the way he said them. The way his hand never let go of hers. The way his body instinctively shielded her from the overwhelming lights and noise. The way he paused whenever she moved, making sure she felt safe before anything else continued. She waved. A small, innocent gesture. The crowd exploded again. In that wave was something pure, something untouched by expectation or image. It reminded everyone why moments like this become legendary. Not because they are planned, but because they are real. For the rest of the night, nothing felt the same. Every song carried a new weight. Every cheer sounded different. The stage no longer belonged to just one man. It had become a bridge between worlds, between who Dylan Wang is on screen and who he might be when the cameras are finally gone. As the child was gently guided back off stage, Dylan stood watching until she disappeared into the shadows. Only then did he turn back to the crowd. His eyes shone. His voice carried a quiet strength. And in that moment, the audience understood something profound. Fame can make people loud. Power can make people visible. But love, in its smallest and most unexpected form, is what truly makes a moment unforgettable. Long after the lights dimmed and the crowd went home, that image remained. A man on a massive stage, a tiny hand in his own, and a question that will echo far beyond that night. Did we just witness a secret, or did we witness the truth hiding in plain sight all along? And as the echoes of that question lingered in the air, the night refused to settle back into normalcy. Because something irreversible had already happened. The crowd stayed louder than before, yet strangely quieter inside. It was as if everyone had collectively agreed that they were now part of a shared secret. Not one confirmed by headlines or press releases, but one felt in the chest. The kind of secret that doesn't need proof to be real. Dylan Wang took a breath before continuing the show. You could see it. A deliberate pause, the kind performers take when they know a moment has shifted the gravity of everything that comes after. When the music resumed, it carried a different tone. Not softer, not weaker, but fuller. As if every note now had a backstory. People noticed the details. How he smiled more gently between lines. How his eyes kept drifting toward the side of the stage, checking unconsciously, instinctively. How the usual sharp, charismatic edge gave way to something warmer, grounded, almost protective. This was not an act. This was a man whose inner world had briefly stepped into the light. Fans would later say that the performance felt less like a concert and more like a confession. Not spoken but lived. Each lyric sounded like it had found a new meaning. Each pause felt intentional. Each glance toward the wings of the stage carried the weight of someone whose priorities, for just a moment, were laid bare. And then came the whispers. They moved faster than sound ever could. Across the crowd. Across social media. Across the world within minutes. Who was that child? Why bring her out now? Why here? Why tonight? Speculation exploded, but certainty did not. And that uncertainty only made the moment more powerful. Because Dylan Wang did not explain. He did not clarify. He did not correct. He did not capitalize. He simply continued. And in doing so, he drew a line between what belongs to the public and what remains sacred. Observers later pointed out something almost poetic about the timing. In an industry obsessed with image, control, and constant performance, this moment felt unpolished, vulnerable, untamed. It did not ask for approval. It did not seek validation. It existed whether anyone was ready for it or not. That is why it shook people. The child, whoever she truly was to him, had done something no publicity stunt ever could. She had reminded everyone that behind the towering screens, the sold-out arenas, and the carefully curated personas, there are lives unfolding quietly. Lives that do not need applause to matter. When the show finally reached its end, Dylan stood at the edge of the stage longer than usual. He bowed, not quickly, not mechanically, but deeply, as if thanking the crowd for understanding something that had never been said out loud. And the applause that followed was different. It wasn't just admiration. It was respect. Long after the venue emptied, clips of that moment continued to circulate. Slowed down, zoomed in, rewatched again and again. People analyzed his expression, her posture, the way their hands fit together so naturally. Some called it shocking. Others called it beautiful. Many simply called it unforgettable. But perhaps the most striking part of all was this. In an age where celebrities are expected to reveal everything or hide everything, Dylan Wang did neither. He allowed a single, fleeting truth to pass through the spotlight and then disappear again into the shadows. And that restraint may be the most powerful statement of all. Because sometimes, the moments that shake the world are not the ones explained in words, but the ones felt so deeply that no explanation could ever do them justice. And somewhere beyond the noise, beyond the theories, beyond the headlines, that tiny figure walked off stage holding a memory she may not fully understand yet. But the world will remember it forever.